got a question for you. So, you're hired to find a missing horror author. He's gone missing. You have no idea where he is, but you take the case because money, right? But the further you get into the case, you find out that every clue tends to be about you. What is more terrifying? Realizing that, in a sense, you're the main character in this whole like horror author story, or just finishing the case? What would be more terrifying to you?
I mean, probably the fact that it's about me, right? Like that would be like the weirdest part about it. But I guess like finishing the case means, doom. So that's not good either.
No, I think I've asked you a lose-lose situation because either way that you would be doomed. Yeah, not a fair question, I know.
It's like, it's just one after the other and both spell doom.
DOOM doom. Hey everybody, how you doing? It is I, the Terrorific Lady, otherwise known as Brandy, and welcome to Retro Horror School Talks, where I drag yet another guest on Kicking and Screaming to discuss what else retro horror. And my latest victim, I'm pointing in the right direction, yay, is Canadian rapper Poltergeist OD. So welcome, it is so great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and now just tell everybody just about who you are and what you do with your rapping and stuff.
I go by Poltergeist OD. I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I started out just generally as like a horrorcore rapper, just rapping about dark subjects and stuff. And eventually a fan of that material hit me up and asked me if I would do a song for his fan-made Michael Myers 20th anniversary or 25th. I think it was 20th anniversary of Halloween. And he wanted me to do like a song from the perspective of Michael Myers. Like, what if Michael Myers was a rapper? Like, what would he say in a song? So I did that. And I wrote the song within like an hour or two. It just came so naturally because I was already such a big horror fan in general. And the documentary didn't end up happening for like legal reasons. I don't even know what happened, but something happened, it fell through. So I put out the song anyway, and it got really good reception. So I was like, okay, like this might be my thing now. And after that, I did The Tall Man from Phantasm. I did Scream, Sleepaway Camp, just, movies I like from the perspective of those characters. And I started to build a bit of a name for myself in the horror scene. And eventually some indie filmmakers have hit me up to write their end credits song. Like I'm on Karis Hell 3. I'm on The Dead Place starring David Howard Thornton. I'm on Air Fryer Slaughter. You can grab all those movies now, support indie horror because those guys definitely deserve it. But that's kind of where I'm at now. And recently I got into the battle rap scene. I've always been interested in doing it, but I never thought of myself as a battle rapper. But now it's like my new obsession. I can't stop doing it and think about it.
That all sounds really awesome. And I envy anybody who can even write lyrics and sing, because believe me, you would not want me singing. I would probably shatter glass. That's how bad I am.
That's why I rap. People are like, why don't you do like singy hooks or not? Man, you don't want to hear that.
You probably wouldn't want to hear me rap either.
We need more female rappers though. We definitely do.
I could leave female rapping to the ones that are really good at it. I will just stick with what I'm doing here. But
fair enough.
Which is doing my horror thing and talking with horror fans about cool horror movies. And you picked a good one. So the John Carpenter fangirl in me was like all giddy, whatever. You chose this one. This movie called In the Mouth of Madness. Now, people can't decide whether it came out in 1994 or 1995. I've seen both dates, but directed course, by John Carpenter and written by John Carpenter and also Michael DeLuca. It's a film that blurs the lines between fantasy and reality, or fiction and reality. So we got Sam Neill as John Trent, and he's searching for this horror author named Sutter Cane, and shit goes down. Shit goes down, and he's losing his grip on reality and what's real. So it is a mind trip, very Lovecraftian, very meta, and I happen to think one of his most underrated horror films. Like, I didn't even know personally existed till around maybe like 2 years ago.
I saw it later in life as well.
Oh, you did? But the way you were talking before recording, like, I've seen it like about 300 times. It's just like, wow, that he must have like been with it since the beginning then.
I mean, okay, so it's probably been it's been in my top 5 ever of any genre, probably for like 15 years. So like, I mean, like later in life as a mid-30s man.
Whenever I was just like looking for John Carpenter films, and I was just like thumbing through streaming, and I saw it's just like, wait, what? What is this movie? I've never heard of it. What? But it is so freaking awesome, and we're going to bask in its awesomeness like many times throughout the course of this podcast. But let me touch back on the year it was released. So 94, 95, depending on which year you want to believe. It was kind of a strange time for horror. So we have slashers that were big in the 80s, but once it hit the 90s, they were starting to get a little bit stale. We have the found footage genre that's about 4 or 5 years from exploding with the Blair Witch Project. But then we also have meta horror that was just around the corner with Wes Craven's 1996 movie Scream. So where do you feel that In the Mouth of Madness fits within the 90s horror landscape? Do you think it's an out of place film, or do you think it's a film that was a bit ahead of its time?
Neither. I think it's exactly where it should be in like the grand scheme of cinematic history, because it does have that like cosmic horror gore creepy factor of like the late 80s, early 90s, because there was a slower transition than I think most people assume, because the 80s had that giant run of slashers and gore and stuff, and then I feel like a lot of people think like 1990 hit and boom, horror movies sucked. But it was a bit of a slower transition, and I feel like 94, 95 would be the perfect example of that, because it was kind of leading away from that and into this meta psychological run of like the late 90s. So I think that was like a good stepping stone and like a good transitional movie for that era.
Yeah, I will have to agree with definitely that, and also another point you made about how people think like just the minute it hits 1990 that horror movies just all of a sudden start to suck and there was nothing good. Like, no. So much good stuff came out in the 90s, and yet people explore 90s horror. It's just as
Hoarder would be me.
Hoarder, yes. I hoard a bunch of stuff in my closet, so yeah, I'm not opening that, but because everything will come tumbling out. But 90s horror is just as awesome as 80s horror, and I would encourage people to explore both of those decades.
I love the 90s. I mean, I was born in 1990, so of course I love the 90s. That was when I was happiest without all the bills. And
I think we all were.
Yeah. But I mean, like for movies, games, music, like some of my favorite hip hop is from like 94, 95. I think it was a great era. And I think a lot of people just don't want to get off of that tip where the 80s was the greatest. And it's like, I can go back and watch an 80s movie and, you know, it's fine. But I mean, I can also watch movies from the 90s that are amazing. So there's good and bad in every decade. And like even right now, people think horror is in a bad state, right? Horror is probably bigger than it ever has been right now.
Yes.
Like, we're having a major comeback, especially theatrically. So, like, what's the problem? Like, just because you don't like the theatrical type movies, that doesn't make them not worthwhile, because that brings more fans to something we love. So why are we complaining?
Exactly. There's been so much awesome, cool stuff that has come out since 2020. And yet, side note, I really want to see Sinners. That's a movie that I am dying to see.
I don't watch trailers. I stopped watching trailers like 5 years ago. So, I mean, I hear about a movie or I see a promo for it, and I'll just write it on my list. I have like 4,000 movies on this list I'm making on my phone, just movies to get to eventually. I still haven't seen The Substance. I know everybody's going to hate me for that, but it's on the list.
Okay, good. As long as it's on the list.
Yeah, I will watch it. I'm just like so focused on the battle rap right now. Like, it's like all I watch at the moment.
Yep, it's definitely one that is worth watching. I think for the time being, though, it's only on Mubi, that MUBI.
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
I mean, I'll probably just buy it. I still buy movies. Like
I do too. Yay, physical media.
Hell yeah.
Yes. All right. I kind of got you off on a tangent there, but it's okay because we're talking about horror. That's perfect.
I like chill podcasts like this where we can just talk and there's not like set times you have to hit certain things, because I've been on those, and it's stressful because you want to like keep the conversation going, but you also want to hit your points. And yeah. Anyway, what do you got? What do you got?
What have I got? Okay, here's the next one that I'm going to throw at you. Okay, so we're going back to In the Mouth of Madness. So it's a film that's about 30 years old, if I'm mathing correctly, if the math is mathing correctly. And some people may look at movies from the 90s, like especially because you start to see that special effects, CGI start to creep its way into movies in the 90s. And some people may go like, oh my Lord, this movie looks so freaking dated. Like, it doesn't hold up at all. It's like, I feel that In the Mouth of Madness still holds up today. Do you agree with me, disagree? What are your thoughts there?
I 95% agree with you, because like the practical effects and like the creatures and the flashbacks and stuff, they looked amazing and they were cool and really well done with the editing. But that one scene where Sutter Cane is like ripping away the fabric of the universe and it opens up the pages of that book. I watched it earlier today and I remember taking a note like, wow, that looked really bad. Because like I do green screening and editing and stuff in video, so I know how it works, and I'm like, oh man, I probably could have did that better. But hey, it was what, 1994, so
I think they probably
I have like $100 program on a laptop. They probably spent thousands of dollars paying somebody to do that one scene.
Yeah, but then the scene that immediately follows it too, where it's that big
really good
him, and he's looking down in it. I knew of that scene even long before I ever saw the movie. I would see gifs of it. It's like, oh, well, that scene looks really cool. And then I would just completely dismiss it. I never even like looked into what movie it was from or anything. Because what would I type? Man standing in front of Rip on wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, maybe it would come up within the Mouth of Madness. I have no idea.
Yeah, you'd probably have to like hit Reddit or something to find a scene like that. Some of those Reddit nerds just know everything.
Yes, yeah. I don't know how they could pull stuff like that off the top of their head, but I guess they can, or they have very awesome research skills.
I feel like they're just specialized nerds like me. Like, I know lots about hip hop and horror movies. You ask me pretty much anything else, and I don't know.
It's like, math, don't know
her.
Yeah.
Matt Hoffa, the battle rapper, I know him.
There we go.
Right?
Yep. And speaking of that scene that I was just talking about, that involved the main character of John Trent, who's played by Sam Neill. We tend to see Sam Neill in quite a bit of horror movies. I could think of Possession, and then also if you think of Jurassic Park as a horror movie, some do, some don't. That's another one. And then Event Horizon, which is also
Yeah.
a horror movie that came
Event
out.
Horizon, probably another top 5, top 10 movie. Amazing.
Yeah, and I don't even remember when I discovered it, but it's always one of those that have been in the back of my mind. It's like, man, when I find it, I'm going to watch it. And then that's just how I saw that. But John Trent, starts off as a bit of a skeptic. He thinks that these people who say that Sutter Cane is missing, I think his agency publishing house, he's just like, yeah, right, this is all a hoax and a scam, and I'm going to solve it. And then at the end, he turns paranoid, and he doesn't really know what to believe. So you got a theme of madness going on in there, and even a theme of paranoia and what people believe, and then also just the idea of control. What do you think the film has to say just about these particular themes, or any other themes that you can think of?
There's a scene where they're driving to there, like right before they hit the bridge and enter the town. I don't remember. Hobbs End. I was like, it's a ha something. It's funny. I've seen the movie so many times. I was close. Yeah, I had the ha. But yeah, there's a scene where they're talking, and she says to him something about how, like, there's a fine line between fiction and reality, and if the majority became insane or whatever, thought a certain different way, and you were the minority, you would be the one who would end up in a padded room.
A reality is just what we tell each other it is. Sane and insane could easily switch places if the insane were to become the majority. You would find yourself locked in a padded cell, wondering what happened to the world.
And then he's like, no, that's not going to be me, which is, we already know he ends up there because of the intro. Yeah. So yeah. I thought that was a cool scene, but I think that's like the whole point of the movie, showing just that concept, that idea, really.
Yeah, and I also have to say too about the idea of, there's a little bit of commentary, I guess, on, I don't want to say a full out commentary on religion, but I guess the idea of cult worship, or like worshiping something as a cult classic, because I know Sutter Cane said, okay, I even wrote down this line word for word. He said, religion has never known how to convey the anatomy of horror. Religion seeks discipline through fear, yet doesn't understand the true nature of creation. No but one has ever believed it enough to make it real. More people believe in my work than they believe in the Bible. It's just like, wow, there's like
right?
there's some deep stuff going on there.
Come on, John Lennon, like, settle down, bud.
Yeah, and I had to say, but the guy they cast for Sutter Cane, as an aside, he looks like somebody who would be writing these very creepy kind of Lovecraftian stories. He just has that look about them. It was perfect casting there.
Yeah, and like the way he talks, and like just the way he carries himself too. I hated the scene when they first open the church doors and you see him standing there all posing with his hair blowing in the wind. I hated that scene. I thought it was so corny, but it's like, I get why they would want to make that like a big moment.
I was like, oh, did you hate it just because you don't like his character, or did you hate it because of the way they
I just thought just like that scene of him standing there with a smirk and the hair blowing in the wind with the music pumping, I just thought it was corny. I don't know, but like that was probably a banger when it came out, right? Like everybody was like, whoa, that's him. And me now, just some guy who doesn't make movies critiquing it.
It's like, yeah, it's like, we know it's you, Sutter Cane. We've seen this movie, like, I don't know, like how many times. He's just like this twisted hybrid, I think, of both Stephen King and Lovecraft, but I think sometimes more Lovecraft than King, because of the fact they touch on the cosmic horror aspect in this movie. How effective do you feel that this movie is at merging literary horror vibes with the cinematic storytelling? Because sometimes when films try to do that, it can get really stale really fast.
I think it's done perfectly, because it's really less about the book and more about Sam Neill's character development. You can really get away with just kind of referencing that it's about a book, but I mean, it's a little bit more than that. Yeah, I think they did it really well, and I probably wouldn't change anything about the movie except for, you know, maybe a couple of CGI effects. But if that movie came out the way it is today with maybe a couple of upgrades in technology, I think it would still be a hit.
Would you change the scene though of him standing in the church with the wind blowing in his hair?
I would maybe make that less dramatic and like cut it a little bit earlier, maybe. I don't know.
I love how they play with the literary horror elements. Later on in the movie, when he finally gets back, I guess, to the real world. Is it real? You don't know. And he's talking to Charlton Heston's character. And Charlton Heston's character is like, hey, yeah, you told me about that, Linda. But we've never had any Linda work for us. It's just like, was John Trent imagining things? Did Sutter Cane just create this world and he just decided to write Linda out of the story as if she never existed? There's so much stuff to think about there.
And like they never explain that either, which I'm sure is on purpose just to like get the conversation going. I mean, it's 30 years later, we're talking about it. So obviously that worked, but it does kind of bother me sometimes with open ending. I love open endings, but I hate it too, because it makes me think about it forever. And I'm like, what did they mean? And I'm sure John Carpenter has explained it in some interview, sometime, some podcast or whatever. It's just, I haven't ever, it's funny. It's one of my favorite movies, but I've never like looked into what the movie actually means. And it's just my own interpretation over and over every time I see it.
I mean, I love Ambiguity, and especially the way John Carpenter handles Ambiguity. Sometimes Ambiguity is really bad, especially if it's not handled right. To me, I think he handles it perfectly because I think it fits with the nature of the world, which is perception and our perception of things. We have characters that, like I mentioned, that were completely written out. There's time loops. I mean, he managed to make a bike creepy in this movie, for crying out loud. So just like
that was a cool scene. I love that. Yeah, and I love like when it's like an old, like that old character on the bike when they fall, they hit the character and they fall on the ground and they go up to them and it's like a little boy's voice going, they won't let me out. They won't let me leave or something. And that alone, just it being like an old man and hearing like a little boy's voice, it's just that kind of sets the tone for like, okay, it's going to get weird over here.
Yeah, and then he picks up the bike that gives him this look.
Yeah, just like, this weird little smirk, and I'm like, there's evil afoot.
Yeah, you would think that, like, okay, I'm going to do a U-turn and go right back around, but then maybe Sutter Cane wouldn't even let me leave. I mean,
I'm going to run that fucker over again.
You're gonna take your car and drive it into that church.
I've seen enough movies. You make sure they're dead. You don't just...
You don't assume.
Although that was a victim though at the end, right? Because like they showed that little boy actually on the bike in the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Because he was like, he must have been like warped back in time or something. Actually, no, because that doesn't make sense either. It's just it's such a every time I think I got it, it's like, well, it kind of doesn't work either.
Like, no, wait a second. Do I have it? It's just like, I get like that too during this movie. Like, oh, wait a second. No, I don't.
But that's what I love about it too. And that's like, I mean, that's kind of what the characters were going through. So it's fun to put the audience through exactly what the characters were going through as well, which is like a cool artistic choice.
Yeah, I think it does really well keeping you off balance, but not so much so that you're frustrated and you're like, okay, that's enough, like quit this. I've had some movies that I watched that tried to play with the nature of reality and fiction, and then it's just like, okay, I'm done now. With this, I'm trying to figure out things. I'm trying to be like, what's going on? And then trying to dissect it still, even after I've watched it.
Yeah, it's cool. I love movies where, I mean, like Eden Lake, stuff with like an ending that's so profoundly strange and like awful that it just makes you think like, what happens next, and you make it up in your head.
Oh, Eden Lake is one that I could only watch once and then never again. I actually, after the movie finished, I like cried for like 10 minutes because it disturbed me that much.
It's a tough ending. That one sticks with you for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm never going to watch it again, not because it's not good, but just because I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, it's like such an awful experience, but I find that's like kind of important with cinema too, because I watch all the fucked up movies, all the disturbing movies, and I think like for me to feel disgust to the point where I want to turn it off, like, job well done, whoever made this movie, like you guys made me feel, and like I've seen so much stuff I'm desensitized to a lot, but like, like the original Last House on the Left and stuff, like there's like a 17-minute scene in that movie where it's like, I don't know if I can get through that again, but I got through it once, so it's like a rite of passage type thing as well.
Yep. Well, as John Waters said, get more out of life. See a fucked up movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've mentioned a few scenes that really stick out in our mind. I mentioned like the one on the bike with the little boy / old man on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you mentioned stuff in the church. What other scenes do you feel particularly stick out in your mind?
I mean, obviously the scene where he draws all is it on the shirt? I don't know if you can tell. Maybe the lighting's bad, but yeah, where he asks for the marker and draws all the crosses all over his body and all over the walls and everything. I just think like cinematically it looks really cool when they show that room and talk about it and stuff. Like I even did that for a music video one time. Like it must have been 2-3 years ago now. I did a song with my friend Audiologist and Kid Kill It here in Alberta, and I did that all over my face and my arms and everything, because I was just like, everybody wanted to do something to like with markers and makeup and stuff. And I was just like, well, this is kind of something I've always wanted to do anyway because of that movie. So I stole it. Sorry, John. Sorry, Sam. Sorry, John. Like, I know those guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's another scene that really sticks out in my mind is when John Trent's on the bus and he wakes up and Sutter Cane's by him, and he said something like, I think it tells him like God isn't supposed to be a hack horror writer, and Sutter Cane's like, hey, relax. I'm gonna prove to you that this is all real, that I'm controlling everything. I'm paraphrasing it very badly. It's like, did you know my favorite color is blue? Then he wakes up and everything's blue. He's like, ah. And then he wakes
There's
up.
Also,
again.
I mean, like, the main scene that's probably like the standout scene is Sutter Cane's agent who like chops the window down with the axe and goes in, like, those like 70s trailers, like, snuff. Yes. Just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. That voice that guy does is totally like trailer-esque. He's like, do you read Sutter Cane? It just sounded like so perfect for that. Like, I don't know, that actor, do you know his name? I don't know.
I don't know. He looks familiar. He's probably a character actor, but
that guy, I don't know why, or maybe he did, but that guy was perfect for trailers.
Yeah, that actually, now that you mention it, that does sound like a trailer voice.
Do you read Sutter Cane? Just the way he says it, I'm like, okay, Terminator 2.
Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm gonna be like thinking about that, like, dude.
Right? Yeah. Every time I watch it, I'm like, man, like that's a trailer. That I'm sure that was in the trailer. I honestly don't know if I've seen, like, if I've ever looked up a trailer for that movie, but I'm sure that's in it.
I mean, 90s trailers were also full of voiceovers, like in a town full of dread, like, or like stuff like that. It's like sometimes I miss 90s trailers in that aspect. They're so dang cheesy. Hey, if you're digging this episode, why don't you go ahead and hit like and subscribe? I've got more horror deep dives and episodes of Retro Horror School Talks on the way. And if you want to keep the horror going even past this episode, I'm always posting extra stuff over on Instagram and Threads. Just look for Terrorific Lady. Plus, if you're feeling generous and want to support the show, my Ko-fi link is in the description. All right, back to it.
Nowadays, I mean, like, I try not to watch trailers just because I don't want to. I want to go in not knowing anything about the movie. That way, like, I get it from front to back as it's meant to be presented to me. But like, you watch a trailer now, it's half the movie. I've seen it in short form now.
Yeah, we need to go back to trailers that don't divulge every aspect of the movie. Like, tease me. Just give me a little bit to where I'm just like, okay, now I will go see it in theaters. I try to avoid trailers for that aspect alone, especially the ones, like you said, that show just pretty much the whole movie. Like, well, I've seen it.
Yep. And like Netflix and stuff, they do the very opposite. They'll show you a random scene that has nothing to do with anything. It's just like two people having a conversation in a coffee shop. It's like, I don't know what this movie's about.
Yeah, they have a conversation at a coffee shop. Then you read the summary. It's just like, it's something like, two people don't know the horrors that are about to hit them.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you get that from a scene about two people drinking coffee?
I think it's just like a timestamp thing they do. They just like pick a time, this amount of seconds to this amount of seconds, and it just doesn't matter when or where it is in the movie. They just show that time slot. It's weird.
Yeah. That's why my preference for movie watching would have to be with physical media, because then you don't get like weird like movie timestamps. It just starts at the beginning and then at the end it's over, and then you can pop it back on your shelf.
And then you can watch the bonus features. I'm still one of those guys who like I always have to watch commentary.
Yes. I love the bonus features. You don't see that much on streaming anymore. Like,
I honestly, when streaming features introduce bonus features, that's when I'll start buying them all. I canceled all my streaming services except for like Prime. I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm over having to pay more for ads, for less ads, even though it's the same amount I've been paying. I'm done with it. If they introduce like bonus features, extra commentary, interviews and stuff like that, and make it a little bit more interactive, I'll buy them all again.
Yeah, it's the only streaming services that I have are the ones that I've either gotten on promotion or that are available through my mobile phone service. Just like they're free, so like I try and spend as little money as possible on that.
Tubi's great. Tubi's free. I'll deal with a few ads if it's free. Yeah,
Tubi is an awesome place, guys, to find horror movies. Especially there are so many. There's theatrical releases, and then there's ones that kind of reminds me of whenever video stores were still a thing. You would go and you'd wander the shelves and you'd find this random movie. You'd be like, oh, what's that? That looks interesting. Tubi's full of those.
For me, it's like, oh, that looks dumb as hell. I'm gonna watch that. Yeah. Dumber the better. Okay, so when you asked me what movie I wanted to talk about, my first answer is always Dude Bro Party Massacre 3. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on Tubi.
No, but that name sounds hilarious.
There's no first two, which already tells you it's amazing. It's just, it's so funny. And like I've been promoting that movie since like 2015, since it came out. I'm like an ambassador for that movie. So it's like, I've done so many podcasts just talking about that. I was like, okay, what other movies do I like? And In the Mouth of Madness was just like the first one that popped in my head.
What other movies do I like besides this one that I've made
I can't go through my entire career just talking about this one movie. Although you should definitely watch it.
It's like, hey, you seen it here first. Poltergeist OD talking about something other than Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
I do watch other movies occasionally.
Okay. So you probably just have like maybe two others on your shelf, and then you go watch Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
I probably have like 4,000 to 6,000 movies in my collection, and you're right. I kind of just watch the same things over and over. Like I watch Trailer Park Boys a lot, like a lot, way too much. I Think You Should Leave on Netflix is the greatest comedy of all time.
I Think You Should. I wouldn't even thought that was a comedy. It sounds like a horror. Like I Think You Should Leave.
Oh my God. Okay. If you haven't seen I Think You Should Leave, put on Netflix if you have it. Watch that entire show. Smoke some weed if you smoke weed. It's incredible. It's so ridiculous. If you like absurdist comedy, it's perfect.
Ooh, yes. I like all manner of comedy.
I like anything that's like dumb where I'm like, what? I love it.
What? Okay, what? That's a good endorsement. Like, this makes me go, what?
Yeah, what?
You see, all this is what we end up getting. These are tangents that we end up getting off on, but they are fun.
It's fun.
And I got recommended Dubro Party Massacre 3, so that is going on my list because I like dumb horror movies.
Perfect. You're gonna love it.
Okay. So, In the Mouth of Madness. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong here. I mean, I just watched it last night, but I'm already just having like a memory wipe or something. This movie didn't have a whole crap ton of gore in it. I mean, there was some
fair share.
There was some, but it wasn't a splatter, gore. I mean, the visuals in the movie were definitely disturbing. You had those creatures that were chasing John near the end. So you had some glimpses of those creatures, but the horror isn't necessarily 100% reliant on gore. Do you think it's more of like a psychological kind of mind-bending movie, or do you feel that the cosmic horror in this movie, the Lovecraftian aspects, hit just as hard?
I always considered it a Lovecraftian movie, right? Like it's I feel like the only reason they even brought Stephen King up in the movie, and like Sutter Cane, Stephen King, they're pretty similar, and they even like mention it in a conversation. I feel like the only reason they even brought him up is because he was so much more popular than Lovecraft at the time. But I feel like at the heart of it, it's a Lovecraftian movie.
Yeah. There's a bit of mind-bending stuff in there, like as well, just like the psychological and the fact that he's questioning his reality. He's like, this is reality. It's just like, well,
yeah, he's like knocking on the dresser. Yeah. But it's like, I mean, isn't that Lovecraft, right? Like questioning reality, entering madness, going, on this spiral in your own mind of like, what am I perceiving? Is what I'm perceiving real or not? That's a huge aspect of his writing.
And also kind of pointing out the fact that we as humans are insignificant in the grand order of the universe. It's just like, well, gee, thanks. That's
right. I actually love that. I love cosmic horror where I feel like, I don't know. I like documentaries on space and stuff where I feel like I'm nothing. I don't know why I want to feel like that. I shouldn't. But it's interesting. It's a cool thought to have. It's something cool to experiment with in your own head, I suppose. I don't know how to word it.
Yeah, I saw this one YouTube video. It's called "The End of the Universe," and for some reason, I was like, "Okay, like what is this?" And after I watched it, I was like, "Well, thanks for giving me an existential crisis. That's what I wanted at 2:00 in the morning."
But it's like that feeling of dread and insignificance. I seek that out in media, like even music. Like I listen to a lot of like metal, so I want to listen to like progressive. I listen to Opeth. They're like a Swedish progressive death metal folk band, and like just some of their songs take you on this journey, and there's like a sense of hopelessness to it. And I don't know why, but I love feeling that. I just think it's beautiful, for the lack of a better word.
No, I think I don't know. I tend to have existential crises and thinking about feelings of dread, like I said, at 2:00 in the morning, whereas all day.
Why is it always when you're trying to go to sleep?
Yeah,
what the
it's
hell?
just like my brain needs to try and go to sleep, but then I'm just like, where is my place in the order of the universe? Just like,
Yeah.
seriously?
Lately for me, it's like I go to sleep and I think of like a battle rap bar and I'm like, oh, I got to write that down. And then I write that down. I think of something else and it's like 4 a.m. now. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, I got to get up in 3 hours.
Yeah, it's just like your brain needs to turn off so you can go sleep. Or else, like, just pretty much like lack of sleep, you're going to start to see things and possibly lose your mind. And speaking of, that's one of my favorite things, like in horror, is the idea of people's perceptions of reality, losing their mind. Like that line that you mentioned, insane could switch places. Like if the insane were to become the majority, it's just like, that is terrifying. Why do you think the idea of losing your mind is a terrifying concept in horror? I think it's absolutely terrifying.
Oh yeah, and like that's reality for a lot of people. Like I might get dementia one day, and I have to live through that horror. And it's like I've seen it in family members. I've seen it, not just in the media. Like it's a real life horror. Like it must be so sad, right?
Yeah. It makes me think of that other movie that it deals with that, just like The Taking of Deborah Logan. I don't know if you've seen that.
I own it.
You own it. Okay. I figured that you would with your 4,000 to 6,000 horror movies that you have.
I'm one of those. I'm like a hoarder now. So like I'm one of those people who will go to a garage sale and just, how much for the entire table of movies? I'll just go straight to the DVDs or VHSs and like, how much for all of them?
So
I'll sell or donate what I don't already have. I just don't want to look through them all. Just give me everything you got.
You have like a lack of patience there in that regard.
It's mostly I'm just bad with money, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, that too, I guess.
I'm compulsive. Like if I see something I want, like I'm bad for like going to Walmart and going to the toy section and being like, oh man, that's a cool dinosaur, and I'll just buy it.
I want it.
Yeah, I'm like a 7-year-old with money now. It sucks. It's fun, but like
but then we also have to pay bills and stuff, which we didn't have to do when we were 7.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that aside, we've got this town that even my 7-year-old self would not want to be in, regardless of the fact there were kids in that town. So we have the town of Hobbs End, that it apparently was pulled out of thin air by Sutter Cane. And I'm always big on the aspect of how places can even be like settings and characters in and of themselves. And this town is a town with secrets. I'm thinking things of like also Children of the Corn is a town that has dark secrets. Blair Witch Project, Burkittsville, Maryland has all those dark secrets. Why do towns and small towns with creepy ass secrets work so well? Do you think?
I got another question for you, actually, as a rebuttal.
Oh, okay.
Do you think that they made the concept this mysterious town because of Stephen King? Because they wanted to get that reference in there with him. Like, I mean, obviously Derry, Maine is like his thing, his town. So like, do you think that's why? Or I like just thought of that. Like, what if that was in itself a reference to Stephen King?
I mean, it definitely could have been. Just like Derry, Maine was also a town with a really horrifying dark secret of a clown monster thing that comes out of the sewers every, was it 27 years? 27, 37? So it's been a while since I've seen it.
I think it's 27.
Okay, so every 20 said that. It could very possibly be a Stephen King reference. I mean, it could also be a Lovecraftian reference, because Lovecraft had plenty of those towns and little villages that were just
Innsmouth. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so just either one. I think it could be a reference to both. Like they smushed it all together, just like there we go.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, now I'm turning it back on you. What do you think about creepy towns with secrets?
I love it. I love anything that I don't understand immediately. Like if the whole movie I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I'm having a great time. I'm not complaining. So
yeah, if you're complaining, then something would be wrong, I guess.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I love the creepy towns with dark secrets, and I love it when you don't really know. It's never really explained what's going on. It's just there's weird shit happening and you're along for the ride. That's kind of my favorite. I wouldn't call that a genre, but like that's my favorite idea that people run with in movies.
So like theme or just
yeah.
aspects.
I'm just saying, I love the creepy towns with dark secrets. That's a long, weird way of saying that.
Yeah, I mean, like first they were just like the town seems dead. There's a bunch of kids that just come running up out of nowhere. They're chasing this dog. The dog had 4 legs when you first saw it. Then it had 3. So I guess apparently they ate the dog's leg. That's disgusting. Then they all turn like really weird and like monster-like. And it's just like, oh my God. Like I loved it whenever John was like, I gotta get out of here. And he drives and he just keeps doing like this loop back into this town.
Yeah. There's another movie that does that pretty well. It's called The Endless. It's another like Lovecraftian type movie, but they also do that kind of like you're trapped in this bubble. They do that pretty well. And it's another like time loop type movie too. So like you get out of the bubble, you're back in the loop. I like concepts like that too, where like you can't escape and you have to solve the problem before you can get out. It's been done a million times, but
yeah.
Cool concept, and it works pretty much every time I've seen it.
Yeah, like all the times that I've seen it, I think it works pretty well too, but it just also has me feeling bad like for John Trent. It's like, oh my gosh, what do you feel just about John Trent? Do you feel that he's just another character in Sutter Cane's story or the main character, or do you think he's just this dude that just got pulled into this weird situation?
I don't know. Like, and it's funny, I've seen it so many times, and I even watched it today, and I knew you were going to ask me this, so I was like trying to think on it, and I was like, I don't know. Like, my mind wants me to believe that he was legit, like Sutter Cane was right, and he is just a character that he writes. And the thing that solidifies that the most is when he goes back and the editor that he went to Hobbs End with she didn't exist. So like you said earlier, she got written out of the script. I think that's really the main thing that they were going for, but it's cool to think about it the other way as well.
Yes, or it could even be none of this is real and it's all in his head. It's just like...
Yeah, like what if he was in that padded room the whole time? And, there's also that.
Oh my gosh. I can see what you mean about ambiguity. I love it, but then sometimes like too...
It's frustrating, but it's fun. It's like...
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just our silly human brains that want to know definitive answers. Okay, what is the answer to this? Why is this the way it is? And when we don't get it, our brain just throws hissy fits like teenagers.
Yeah, but that's what makes you remember a movie. Like if a movie has an open end that makes you, like if I'm Googling a movie like plot explained, if I'm Googling that, then it was a good movie. The way I see it, because if it was a bad movie, I'm just like, okay, whatever, put something else on.
Yeah, so I don't want to know anything about the plot of this movie that I think stinks.
Yeah, like when a movie, like, okay, this is gonna sound dumb, but like The Fourth Kind, when that movie, I saw it in theaters, and like I didn't even leave the theater. I was already on Google, like, did this fucking happen? And obviously it didn't, but it was just done so well. Where like I was like on the fence, like, are these real interviews? Like, this is wild.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. And I feel personally that a lot of people tend to sleep on this movie. I mean, it's one of those that's also, it's now cult classic. Like I mentioned in another episode where I talked about the movie Christine, that John Carpenter's the cult classic director. It seems like every freaking one of his movies have ended up in cult classic territory, this included. But it's also,
I mean, even Escape from LA ended up a cult classic, and like, I don't know how it was perceived when it first came out, but I remember not liking it at all growing up. But like now that I'm like older and I love kind of, you know, cheesier stuff like that, it's awesome.
And then we got the Apocalypse trilogy. It's like, people, it's not really a trilogy, so these movies are not connected by anything other than just the fact that an apocalypse either almost happens, or it actually does happen, or maybe it doesn't. We've got this movie, then we got Prince of Darkness, and then we got The Thing. That's all part of this Apocalypse trilogy. But as far as In the Mouth of Madness goes, do you think it deserves more credit in general? I mean, when I talk about it with horror fans on social media, it gets like, those that have seen it gets a lot of love. But do you think the movie just deserves more credit in general?
But it's like, here's the thing though. I definitely do think that it deserves more credit and more people should watch it. But I feel like, is that what makes it special to people like us? The fact that it's like our little secret, our little gem that we like to tell people about? Because if everybody knew about it, it wouldn't be such a conversation piece 30 years later, right? I don't think people are going to be talking about The Conjuring in 20 years.
I mean, they may, like, I don't know what's going to be like, you know, talked about in 20 years, but everybody now knows about John Carpenter's The Thing. I got the poster on the back wall, and people are still talking about it, even like almost 43 years later. I
mean, The Thing is arguably the best horror movie ever made. You ask most horror movie fans, and it's definitely up there on their list. Like, I don't know anybody who doesn't love that movie. I don't think I've ever met somebody who hates that movie.
I haven't either. That would be interesting, though, to meet somebody who actually is like, I do not like John Carpenter's The Thing. That would fascinate me. I will immediately.
That's the conversation you want to get out early in the friendship, so that you know you don't want to be friends with that person, or at least like, I don't trust their opinion about movies.
Like, do you hate John Carpenter's The Thing? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Green flag. You're good to go.
Cool. So don't ever recommend anything to me.
It's like, yeah. If the answer is no, I'd be like, you're very suspect. I don't
want
anything to do.
I mean, if you're in the conversation of John Carpenter and you're like, I don't like Ghosts of Mars, I get it. I love it, but I get that. But like The Thing, what are you talking about?
Yeah, if I was like, I don't like Ghosts of Mars or The Thing, you probably would have been like, bye, I'm leaving this podcast and I'm never coming back.
Done. But it would probably still be an interesting conversation, because I would love to know why somebody doesn't like that movie.
I would love that too. So a shout out to anybody out there. If you happen to not like The Thing, just get in touch.
Yeah, you're the next guest on this podcast.
Yes. Like, I would love to talk with you. Just I love hearing differing opinions too.
You're a very wrong but interesting person.
You are so wrong, however.
I'd love to hear why you're wrong.
Yeah, why you're wrong. Okay, just tell me why you're wrong, just about your opinion.
Yeah.
Come on. You mentioned earlier on, just like, if this movie came out just in today's age, it would, with a few tweaks, it would still like hold up, like if it came out today, and would still like, it would still look good, because of course it would have better special effects. I mean, I hope that it would look good. But do you also think that it would connect with more people, I guess, today, especially because we live in the age where we've got things like fiction and reality almost kind of blurring together, staged videos, parasocial relationships on social media. So sometimes the idea of, I don't want to say like exactly fiction, but just like maybe kind of, I don't know where I'm going with this, but other than the fact that
No, I'm with you.
okay, he's with me. Yes. Okay. So just the idea of just like the social media age, and sometimes the lines can get blurred, which in the Mouth of Madness lines get blurred as well. So do you think that it would connect with today's audiences?
I'm not sure. That's kind of a tough question to answer. Because I mean, like, yeah, you're right with reality, like with all the fake content that people make nowadays, fake news, this and that. Like, hardly anything you see is real. I'm Googling movie posters because I'm like, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Maybe it makes sense that it would, but I can't really answer that until, if there was, I hope they don't remake the movie, but if they do, it better be good. And
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it would work. Hey.
Yeah, it might. I mean, I'm very kind of like with John Carpenter movies. I'm just like, don't ever remake them ever, because I'm very
Yeah, I'm totally all good with remakes. I think remakes should be done because I mean, like, 13 Ghosts was a remake, and that's so many people, so many people tell me that's their favorite horror movie, and they don't even know it's a remake. And I mean, The Thing was a remake.
Yep, it technically was a remake. I'm on with 4 remakes. I guess I'm about 50-50. Like, I would really not want them to remake The Thing again. Like, I think it's perfect as it is, but if they ever did remake it, I probably would pout about it and not watch it. But then it doesn't take away from the fact that other people might find it and enjoy
See,
it.
I'm the very opposite. I'm like, oh, they're remaking that movie I love. Cool. I hope it's good. Because, like, even if it's not, I still have that other movie to watch. But, like, I mean, like, Black Christmas is the prime example as of late. That's the first one that comes to my mind because I love that movie. I even love Black Xmas, what was it, 2008 or whatever. I love that movie as well. But then they just made one in 2019 or something like that, and
they remade that movie about 3 times, I think.
It's whatever,
It's what I'll just go pout about it in my corner if I don't really like what is
like. It's just one of those things where it's like, somebody will announce a reboot, remake, sequel, whatever, and the internet loses their shit, and everybody complains saying they're gonna ruin it. Like, what are they ruining? Something that already exists that you can just go put on right now? I don't know. I'm not a remake hater. I'll check it out, and if it's good, it's dope. And if it's not, then whatever. I'll just go watch the other one.
Yeah, because I mean, for all we know, there's someone out there who hates The Thing. It's like, man, I wish that movie would be remade.
I'm sure there's lots of people out there. I don't want to meet them, but they exist, I'm sure.
Yeah, they exist, or do they? We may think that they exist, but do we actually really know?
Right, that's the plot. That's the plot of the remake.
Okay, so, all right. Now, we are to the point that I like to call my what if scenario. So I'm always big on thinking about what if this happened, or what if that happened, or what if I was in this scenario? Like, what the hell? So here is what we're going to be noodling on. What if John Trent had never gone looking for Sutter Cane? I guess let's say that he hated money for whatever reason and just decided to turn down the job. So there's no Hobbs End. He doesn't have to deal with that. He doesn't have to deal with some weird ass horror manuscript. And he doesn't have to deal with knowing what's real and what's not. Do you think that the world would have just gone to hell anyway? Or do you think that John was the necessary catalyst to kick this apocalypse off?
Yeah, I think he was necessary because, like Sutter Cane tells him, he's like, I needed you. Like he was like you said, their catalyst. He was the middleman between his writing and getting it into the world. So like, yeah, I feel like he was like a purposefully important piece of the puzzle that needed to happen. And obviously, if it didn't, it would just be a boring movie. But it would just be somebody else, right?
Yeah, that's true. That'd be a funny, like, In the Mouth of Madness, real edition. Here, take this job
Right?
and find this horror author. No. Okay,
No.
have a nice day.
Not going to, what was it, New Hampshire? I'm not going to New Hampshire. That's it. Credits roll.
The end. Directed by John Carpenter. It's like, wow, this is the shortest John Carpenter movie I've ever seen.
7 minutes in? Like, seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, horror movies would not last longer than about 5 minutes if it was just like, if we're being realistic. And if people were actually like, no, I'm not going to the creepy cabin in the woods. Are you crazy?
Right? And I'm that way too. I'm just like, I'm not doing that. What are you talking about? Never seen a movie?
Yeah, it's like, I've seen that movie. I know how.
Yeah. I hate in movies when they act like they've never seen a movie. Like when there's zombies and they're like, oh, the like, what do we call them? And like, they're fucking zombies. What are you talking about?
That's why I loved, speaking of, that's why I loved Return of the Living Dead, because they were just like, hey, like in that movie, the Night of the Living Dead, they said to remove the brain. It's just like, yes, it's just like,
yeah,
exist in movie worlds too. Come on.
Right? Movies, yeah, exactly. Movies should exist in movie worlds.
Yeah, which is, again, like that did it well, and so did Scream. It was perfect. It knew that movies existed. And
so did In the Mouth of Madness with the Stephen King references and stuff. So
oh my gosh. And the end of that movie where he goes to see the movie In the Mouth of Madness, and he goes and sits in the movie theater, and he just like that laugh at the end. He's just like, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. that
so
was
cool.
Like oh yes, it was perfect ending to a really weird movie. So now we're to the point of this show what I like to call the retro lightning round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions. You're just going to say the first answer that comes to your mind. You can just answer the question, or you can expand on your answer as much as you want. So either way. Okay, first question. Sutter Cane, was he even real? Do you think he was even real? Yes or no?
I want to believe he was.
Sam Neill's character from Event Horizon met Sam Neill's character in the Mouth of Madness. Which one do you think would be more insane?
Which era of Event Horizon? Because if it's near the end, definitely him.
Well, he was kind of slowly.
Because like he saw hell, right? Like wasn't Sam Neill in Event Horizon near the end? Like, didn't he see hell?
Yeah, and I think he also just like cut out his eyeballs or like gouged out his eyeballs or something.
So I think that's a little bit more intense.
Okay, I would have to agree with you there. Now, in this day and age, it seems like they're taking movies and turning them into TV shows, TV series. So say they're like, hey, we are going to make an In the Mouth of Madness TV show. Do you think it would work as a TV series, or do you think that it would lose its edge if it was turned into a TV series?
I mean, it really depends on who does it and how it's done. But I'm down with the making something into a series, because you can really do your character development, your special effects. You have room and time to get everything done. So like, let's say they do one based on a novel that's really long. Like if it was a series, like I know it's a mini series or whatever, but if that was like, 2-3 seasons long, they could do everything and anything they wanted to with it. So you get a little bit more creative leeway and more time to hit marks in the source material. So I don't know. I think it would work.
Okay. So you're talking with somebody and they tell you, I have never seen a single John Carpenter movie before in my life. Would you stop being their friend or kick them out? No, that's not the question. That's not the question.
Are there people who haven't? Are there people who haven't seen Halloween? I don't know. Do those people exist?
I'm sure that they are out there. So let's pretend that there's someone out there and you met them and they have never seen a John Carpenter film before in their life. Would In the Mouth of Madness be the one that you start them off with, or would you pick another one of his films to show them?
I mean, I definitely start with Halloween. I'd do Halloween, The Thing, then In the Mouth of Madness, probably. Maybe Christine after. But I'd say in that order, those would be the movies that I would put on first.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't just go with the Apocalypse trilogy.
Yeah, fair enough.
The Thing, Prince of Darkness, Into the Mouth of Madness.
But I mean, like, Prince of Darkness is kind of like, I feel like to enjoy that movie, you kind of already have to be like a seasoned horror fanatic, because like I don't think I could bring in like a casual movie viewer to a movie like that. Like Halloween for sure, but like Prince of Darkness is a bit out there.
They'd be like, what the hell is Satan doing in a sinister? All right, last question. So, in the realm of reality versus like fiction characters, so whether asking the idea of like what's real, what's not, and the world bending stuff, which character is the most terrifying when it comes to that kind of reality versus fiction world and what's real? Sutter Cane, Pennywise, or Freddy Krueger?
I mean, it depends on a surface level, Freddy Krueger, I'd say, but like it depends on how much you know about that character. Because isn't Pennywise like an omnipotent being? Can't he create and destroy universes or something? Like, it's been a while since I read the book, but like I'm pretty sure Pennywise is like hella powerful.
He is, or it is, since if we're going to be talking about like as a creature, no.
I would say Sutter Cane out of those three would be bottom of the list.
Really? Because if he's God in a sense, he could create all these worlds and nightmares.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess if he writes it as he will it, so it shall be kind of thing. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Freddy Krueger would be at the bottom of the list. But like I do find the idea of Freddy Krueger to be terrifying. He can get you in your dreams. Everybody's got to sleep. What are you going to do? Stay awake forever? You can't. It's physically impossible.
No, because then you'd start like hallucinating and seeing things like the longer you stayed awake. So it's just like, well, I guess I'll go to sleep and just die.
Right?
Yeah, he would get me like really easily because I am very fond of my sleep, as I'm sure like most everybody is.
God, I love sleeping.
Oh, sleep is great. Like we hated it so
especially
much
when you have stuff to do. If I have something to do that day and I just say fuck it and go to sleep, it feels better.
Yeah, it's like I'll just do it later.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've had a good time talking about In the Mouth of Madness, but as the saying goes, almost good things must come to an end, unfortunately. Once again, I would like to thank you, Poltergeist OD, for coming on and talking about In the Mouth of Madness with me. It was awesome.
It was a really good time. I had a good time. And obviously, hit me up whenever you need a guest, because I am always down to support the podcast community.
Well, I will definitely keep that in mind and put you on my mental list for future things that I do with this thing. But
yeah, if you ever want to talk about Do Bro Party Massacre, I'm your guy.
Yeah, for you it would be probably like the 1,000th time, but for me it would be the first time.
I'm down.
Before I let you go for realsies, there's a few things that I want to ask. First off, any last thoughts that you have on why people should watch this movie? Maybe they've never seen it before, or maybe it's been a while since they've seen it and they don't remember watching it. So why should people watch this movie?
I mean, I feel like there's just something for everybody in a movie like this. I mean, especially for a horror fan, whether you like, you know, slashers, cosmic horror, psychological thrillers, there's some of that in the movie. So if you just like horror movies in general, you'll love it. But I feel like even the casual moviegoer, just like somebody who's not really into horror, can still find enjoyment out of it. So just if you like movies, watch it. It's great. And I think anybody would enjoy it.
Right. You heard it here first. That's why you should watch this movie.
It's a good movie. You should watch it.
Exactly. That's no other explanation needed.
Simple.
Oh, now tell people where you are on the interwebs, where they can find you, and any upcoming things that you have coming out or that you're doing that people should keep an eye out for.
You can just find me anywhere. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. There's an app called Slasher app. Yeah. It's amazing. It's like a social media specifically just for horror fans. And you can find me on all those platforms just by searching Poltergeist OD or Poltergeist_OD if you can't find that. As for projects, I just had a battle with KS from Winnipeg just drop on YouTube. If you look up Poltergeist OD versus K space ESS, you can find my latest battle. I just dropped a music video with Aaron Romero called Sacrificial Lamb Shit. It's like this horror, it's this horrorcore song, like hardcore horrorcore kind of track. And Aaron Romero made this 8-bit video game style music video for it, and it's incredible. And I think more people should definitely check out his work. I have a solo album I'm working on. I have like 4 songs to do, and that's done. The OD stands for Obscene Division, which is a group that I started with 2 of my best friends, and we're doing a 6-track EP that's coming out soon. Other than that, I've got more shows and battles and stuff booked. So yeah, just look me up on social media, Poltergeist OD, and stay tuned.
All right. And I will make sure to have links to where people can find you down in the description box. That will be below this video. So to everybody out there, thank you so much for watching this episode of Retro Horror School Talks. Like and share with fellow horror fans and subscribe. You really should if you want to learn more about horror and your favorite horror movies. Class is dismissed, and I will see you all next time.